Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. May has definitely been one of the absolute toughest months of this year for me, and I really would love to give back my subscription to adulthood. How do I unsubscribe? How, how do I unsubscribe? Today we're going to talk about the highs and lows of me, things that I need to get done. I'm going to give you an update on my progress and some other stuff between. I know you so well, so well. Hi guys, I'm sorry that introduction was so life draining, but I am going through a lot recently. May has definitely not been one of the better months for the year, and I'm just trying to sail on by, yeah, because I mean, what else is there left for us to do, right? We get up, we pray, we thank God, and we keep fighting, we keep going, we keep going, because that's what we're supposed to do. This month I moved from having an eye infection to spraining my ankle to having family issues to being stalked, and trying to wrap my head around everything happening all at once was very difficult. And in the interim, I was thrown off course with respect to eating right and exercising and all this good stuff that have been aiming to do this year. It's something that I realized that, like, once you communicate the things that you like, the desires, the things that you want to do, where you want to be, what you want to achieve in your life, there would be things that would be thrown into your way all the time to try to derail you from achieving it. And I will not lie, this month I was severely demotivated. Like, I just didn't want to. I just wanted to stop. So let me just, before I get into what has happened, I'll just give the update. Even though I was unable to exercise as I would have liked to because of my sprain, um, I would have lost an inch of my waist. I would have lost an inch of my legs. I didn't lose anything of my butt again, so praises. Did I measure my hands? I can't remember. My arms, I can't remember if I measured my arms, but I know for a fact that I did lose 1 inch of my stomach, and this was with absolutely no exercise. But then again, I was ridiculous. I felt ridiculously stressed, and so I don't know if that weight loss, and my scale decided that we're not gonna read her weight no more. So I don't know. I really don't know what is happening with the scale. I don't know if the battery needs to change. I'm just not sure. So I would have to go into like one of those pharmacies and step on their scale and weigh. So I guess I'll give you that update. I did film a story time, but then that had to be cancelled because. So yeah, so let me just talk about what's been going on with me. So my sprain, my eye infection. Oh, so I had an eye infection. I don't know how or why, but that had me out of commission for about a week because it was really painful. I don't understand where it came from. and I had to use eye drops to get the swelling to go down. So I had to use antibiotics to get the swelling to go down. So that was the eye infection. So after that week of not being able to go walk, and when I started back walk, I decided to start back walking or to resume my walking. There was this evening I went out with all intentions of doing 4 miles because I still had like at that point in time 40 something, 40 about 40 miles to do, and I calculated a rough estimate of 4 miles over 12 days to complete the challenge. So I said, okay, so I'll take 12 days. 12 days is not a lot. It's about a week and a half, or a little over, well, yeah, about a week and a half. No, 7 and 5 is 12, Caroline. So essentially a little less than 2 weeks, or 2 days shy of 2 weeks. So I would get it over with then. I had all motivation to do it. Yeah, so where was I? So yeah, I worked out the maths in my mind, and I said I would do the 4 miles a day, and that would take me 12. It would take me 12 days to complete the challenge. So the very first evening when I went back out to walk, I started walking and then realized after making 2 laps around Larry Gomes, which is essentially 2 miles, that the tracker was not recording the walk. So I became discouraged, and I was like, I'm not going to complete this walk. And then I went back by my cousin. We hung out a bit, and maybe a little after 9 minutes to 10, I decided, I'm going home. So came home, and Milo was obviously upset because Milo believes that dinner time is 8, and how dare I try to feed him later than 8 p.m. Like, how dare I? So he was like all up in my space. I could barely walk. He was coming in between me. Every time I tried to walk now, I'll put a picture of him here so that y'all can see just how black he is, because he's really black. And it was, as I said, after 10. I generally don't have the light on in the gallery because I prefer to be incognito. Like, I don't really want anyone to see me and my actions when I am at home, because I know, for safety purposes, Anyway, so I went outside to pick up their bowls. He drags his bowl all the way down to the gate sometimes. So I went outside to pick up their bowl. I got his bowl, and I was going to retrieve Missy's bowl. And what happened? When I decided to step, so there's a step down. When I decided to step down, I didn't realize that he had come in between me and the step down. So when I looked down, it was a little too late. And I tripped and I fell. That in and of itself was a whole scenario, because I'm outside, I'm checking to see if anybody else saw me fall, but knowing in my heart nobody else saw me fall because of where I fell. But then, like, on going down, because of how, like, my foot kind of twisted onto the ankle itself, so I knew that it was going to be a really, really bad sprain. And I sprained my ankle when I was about 9-10. I had jumped from a 2-story house, well, a 2-level, split level house. I jumped from the top to the bottom, and I sprained both my ankles when I was about 9 or 10. With that, the doctors told mommy that it would be easier for me to get sprains, like to continually get sprains. So in my adulthood, any little twist of my ankle leads to a sprain, unfortunately. But I knew that this sprain was going to be really bad because of because of the angle in which my ankle was twisted. I was unable to walk that entire night. I had to band up my foot. I know you have to do the rise, rest, ice, compression, and elevation. However, I don't like icing because I feel like icing is painful. So I did not ice. I just rested. And then I did some research and I saw MET, which is movement, elevation, something and something, and eat. Traction and eat. Traction and eat. So I said, okay, I'll try MET. I'll see if, like moving and like continually walking on the foot and stretching it and doing elevations, etc. would help. It did, because I'm able to walk comfortably. The foot is still kind of painful, but it's not to that point where I can't move anymore, and I've resumed walking. But the motivation to go walk is now a challenge because I have a lot going on mentally. So that's a whole next story. So yeah, so that was my foot incident, and I was out for 2 weeks, which would have brought me to mid-May, because today's May 29th. So that was my injury story. I just want to see that, sometimes you see people and you think, oh wow, this person has everything all together. They have life figured out. They know what they're about. They know what they want. They are go-getters, very confident, not very easily swayed, etc. And you look at people and you say that person's life is clearly together. They don't have any issues, they don't have any challenges. And I beg people to stop thinking like that, because half the time you don't know what people are going through to get the results that they want, or to get to the point where they want to be at, or to just exist sometimes, and to be strong, and to face the world, and to do the things that you need to do. I would say that me being a caregiver has not been an easy job. It has not been something that has been mentally easy. It has been something that that could be very frustrating at times. It has been something that I have had to consistently pray and ask God for strength to endure, to deal with, because one, and I'm going to be very transparent, having a sister who's autistic is a lot to deal with at times. Corinne throws tantrums, that I've tried all different mechanisms to try to deal with. There are many nights that I probably only get 1 to 2 hours or 3 hours of sleep, because she would get up and she would decide to go have a bath at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and whilst everybody is just going about their life, doing what they have to do, that responsibility to be there emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, for Corinne sometimes is difficult. And I don't know that, like, people see me, I'm always smiling. I always try to be pleasant. I try to be an amazing person to the people who are in my life, and sometimes that doesn't always translate in the way it should be translated. And it's unfortunate that, you know, people would see or hear me say something, or see me type something or whatever, and take it in a negative way. I am a very matter of fact person. So if I talk, if I say something, or if I type something, it's very straight to the point, straightforward. And sometimes I know that I could rub people the wrong way, but it's who I am, and I don't feel like it's fair for persons to attempt to change who I am because it makes them feel uncomfortable, and when I say persons, I mean like people who have been in my life all my life. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make sense. We all kind of, like, work around personalities. We work around challenges in communication. And for me personally, I think one of the ways to like help that as a help communication challenges is to like to go to counseling, because as individuals you have different ways of expression and communication, and if you realize that you're just not meeting that person in terms of where they are, instead of trying to make them communicate the way them you want them to communicate with you, you try to see how you could work it out, like how you could understand them or meet them where they are, right? And that has been a challenge of mine for some time, where persons misconstrue a lot of what I see, misconstrue, and I don't know how we could get like tones and stuff from messages. Like, my thing is, like, you're supposed to know somebody after a particular length of time of talking to the person or being with the person or living with the person. You're supposed to know the person so that you know how they communicate, so that you know how they speak, so that, like, if I'm typing something, you're not supposed to just automatically assume that there's a tone or there's aggression or there's whatever. If I'm using exclamation marks and I'm putting things in caps, then yes, you can determine that there's a tone there. But if I'm just typing a message, why is it like the first thing you assume is that there's a tone there? Like, it just baffles me, and I'm sorry that I have rambled. But I want to talk about like toxic relationships and knowing when to just like escape. I know that as a Christian, particularly as a Christian, like, it is expected that if you are having problems with a family member or a friend, that you try to stick it out because the Bible says you have to forgive and whatever. And I'm not saying that you don't have to forgive, but I do also believe in loving people from afar, and respecting person's space, and honoring your understanding of differences and compatibilities. And I think that we have to break away from that idea that because it's a sister or brother or an aunt or uncle or a mother or a father, that we are required to to stick it out. If the person is being abusive verbally, abusive mentally, abusive emotionally, they're not lending any support to your betterment. And especially when you are on your journey to betterment of self, it is imperative that you get rid of the toxic persons that are preventing your growth. And let me just tell you this: God removes those people whether we like it or not, when you are growing, there there are there are situations that God will take you to show you that this person does not suit your purpose at this point. And I don't know if you understand or if that makes sense to you, but not everybody who has started the journey with you will complete it with you. There are some persons that God has a particular purpose and a particular point that they are supposed to be at, and then they would exit stage right or stage left. And it's not up to you to decide, okay, I'm going to force this person or force these people to stay in this box and stay in this box with me, right? There are going to be persons who will come and they will go and they will say mean things about you when they leave, and they will lie and they will twist the story, and they will villainize you. They'll make you seem like you're the bad person, and you just have to just like, you know, your truth, and just roll with it, go with the flow, because at the end of the day, when you are on your own personal journey for purpose and betterment of self, you are not going to carry everybody with you. Everybody just can't go with you, whether it be your family or a friend or a husband, or everybody is not meant to just go on that journey with you. And the faster we come to terms with that, the better off we'll be as people. You know what I mean? So that's that. I am definitely going through a lot in terms of family life, and I'm learning things about myself. I'm learning things about where God wants me to be in terms of my own spiritual journey. And you know, like, I am God is so he is so amazing sometimes. The way that he reveals things to me sometimes, it's just like, what the hell? Like, all right, God, I see you. I see you. I hear you. I respect your wishes on the situation. Sometimes I put up a fight. Other times I'm just like, all right, well, this is what you want. This is your will, and I'm not gonna fight you on it, right? So there's that. I don't know how he helps me to remain sane. I really don't know. But he has kept me sane, and I am beyond grateful that I haven't ended up in St. Anne's Hospital, lying down, probably bound to a bed, because there are a lot of things that go on in my life on a daily basis that could lead me to that point where I feel like I need to just get up, go and check myself into St. Anne's. I kid you not. Let's talk about my safety and security. So there's this neighborhood peeping Tom. Now, the highlight of this story is it's hilarious, and I'm not trying to make light of the situation that I went through, because I am still going through it. Last night I went out to lie with my friends and well, one of my friends and her kids, and while we were on our way, we were going to get something to eat, and we were just doing a drive, and I'm looking at the time and I'm like, oh my god, it's getting late. I want to be out and I want to continue doing the things that I'm accustomed doing, but like in the back of my head, we can't reach home after a certain time, Caroline, because what if the guy decides to come back, or what if he's in the yard, or you know, there were a lot of thoughts in my mind, And I don't know, like I'm trying to not overthink things, like overthink the situation and make it a bigger deal than it really is. But at the same time, you know, like when you have somebody come up to you and tell you, I know that you live alone and I know that you don't have a man, and I don't understand why you can't give me your number. We are of the age where we could talk and stuff, and you know for a fact that this is the neighborhood peeping tom. You know for a fact that this person goes into people's yards and watches them bathe and masturbates while, you know, like it is something that is scary to me, the fact that he knows all this information about me. So that's what happened. That he came up the road. I was outside minding my own business. I just finished feeding Missy and Milo. Milo does this thing where he digs a lot of holes, right? He's a cocker spaniel and mixed breed dog, and he loves digging. So the the latch drops down into the concrete, and into the concrete for the gate, and he dug out the space is actually dirt in between, like the concrete finally chipped off and it's now dirt in between there. So he took his good merry time and dug 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 out the dirt. So I have to keep filling it back because he is so heavy that when he jumps on the gate, he pushes it and then he would end up going outside. So in order to prevent that from happening, I try to pack back the little area with dirt. Put stones first and then put dirt on top of it. Pat it down. Um, so whilst I was doing that, I saw the guy coming up the road, and he was coming up the road with such speed. And I was just like, what the hell? Like, why is he coming here? Like, I thought at first he was going to somebody else, but then when I realized that his intention was to come straight up onto in front of my gate, I was like, no, he can't be serious. Um, I was scared, but you know, you don't want to show that because it was like a little after 10 to in the night, right? And so I'm standing up, I'm trying to lock the padlock on the gate, but then I'm thinking, do I even know where the key for the padlock is when I decide to lock it? And there are a lot of thoughts in my head. I'm like, I hope that my neighbor's camera getting this because like I don't want to be going through this. If he makes any advancements or anything like that, you know, like I hope that it would be seen and that I would have something to report. So he came up, he stood up right in front of my gate. And while he was coming out the road, I was like, this is not, I kept saying, this is not a good idea. That's not a good idea. Turn around, go back home. It's not a good idea. And he insisted that he came and stood up right in front of my gate. And then he started, oh, he wants my number, and he always seen me around, and he know that I am single, and that because I don't have a ring on my finger, he know I'm single, and that I'm living alone or whatever. So he don't understand why I wouldn't want to give him my number, and then I was like, I will never call you, so I don't even know why you're even bothering. I won't call you. I won't give you my number. So you just turn back and go where you came from. But obviously, I said it with more annoyance than that. So eventually, and then I said, I told him good night, and I turned and I came inside as fast as I ever locked up. Usually, I have a security door, um, so usually I would just turn the key twice. Well, I made sure and I turned the third lock to make sure that I was locked up. And then I went inside, I locked up Corinne's bedroom window, I closed my windows. And yeah. I did not report to the police until the next day when I had a few friends telling me that I should report it. Because generally the police, unfortunately, in my experience, when I call, they never come. So I didn't call. When I called 999, there was a female police officer on the next end. She was like, "Mom, why didn't you report this last night?" And whatever. I said, "Well, I handled it and I came inside and I went to bed." So she said, "You should have called 999 immediately," and whatever. I was just there like, I felt unimpressed until I got 3 calls back to back from the police. So another person from 999, after she would have read the report, called me and was like, "Don't ever do that again, because you don't know what is it's not safe for you to be alone, and you know that you're alone and somebody is threatening your life like this and whatever." And I'm like, she was like, "Why didn't you call?" And I said, "Well, there was an incident that happened just last year where 2 men ran through my yard and I called 999 and I'm still waiting on the police to reach." So she was like, "Regardless of that, ma'am, this was somebody who you came face to face with. You should have called 999, whatever." So she was the second one. I got a third call from the police station nearest me. The ladies, this was another female officer. She called and she said she's going to come. She needs a direction, and I gave her the direction of where the guy lives, because I do know where he lives, etc. And she was like, "Okay, well, I'm going to go. I'm going to check. I'm going to do surveillance and see if he's around. I'm going to have a conversation with him." I did not tell my siblings. I did not tell my siblings anything until the very next morning, because I didn't want anybody to be like worried about me. I did post on my WhatsApp status that if any of my male friends wanted to like stick around me for the week, to which nobody took that offer, by the way. Right? I did see if any of my male friends wanted to stick around with me for the week, then just hit me up, because like I have a stalker. That didn't happen. Long and short, when I told my aunt about it, she went into panic mode. One of my cousins was like, "Caroline, you want me to come and stay with you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, so you come and you stay with me. I'm going to stay with aunt. Who's going to stay with aunt? Because my aunt is partially blind. Who's going to stay with her?" So I appreciate the gesture, but you can't. Yeah, you really can't, because she needs you. I can handle my stories, I can handle my stories. When I told the brother before me, Cohen, he was like, "This is not good, Caroline. This is not good. I'm gonna call Nigel as my eldest brother." And I was like, "Well, okay." When Nigel came onto the line, he was like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "Well," he said, "Go and tell me what happened. Caroline, you have to call this one." He called a person that, well, we are all acquainted with. And he told me, "He's a police officer. You need to call him and organize. And he will go and he will talk to the guy." And I'm just there like, okay. So that was that came off when I spoke to when Nigel came off the phone. Cohen was like, "Call this guy. This guy is part of the security detail for the Prime Minister." So he was like, "Call this guy and tell him what happened, and see, he also lives in my area, see what he could do." So I messaged the guy and I told him what happened, and well, he spoke to me. He said he will do a surveillance of the area as well, and he will talk to him as well. My Nigel called me back and he was like, "Did you call so person?" And I'm like, "No, because Cohen said to call this one." And he was like, yeah, that sounds like a better plan. And this fella don't know who I am or what. This fella, now mind you, I'm giggling because one, the thing happened 2 nights ago. Two, like, even though, well, it happened 2 nights ago, but the fella was still like on my street every night for last weekend. But even though that, like, how he was getting on is like like he's a gangster, like he could do something, and I'm just there on the phone, I'm giggling because I'm like, dude, you a pastor though? Like, what are you gonna do? What are you going to do, sir? What are you gonna do? And then I went by my aunt, the same aunt who is partially blind, and I'm telling her the updates, how I called this person, and he said that he would talk to him or whatever, and what Nigel said and what Cohen said. And she was like, "You're right." Now, if I share some of, because I was catching rail cakes, like I was having a wheel of a time, because my aunt she was like so serious about her plan. She had like a whole plan in her head, and I was really amazed at it. Like I was like, the lengths and breadths that family could go sometimes to make sure that you're safe. Like I felt loved. I did feel loved, right? But it is what it is. I still don't feel 100% safe. Like I said last night, I had a hard time going out and then like fully enjoying myself, knowing that if I reach home safe, that I could come into a situation where I don't know what's happening. So it has heightened my alertness, because I'm usually alert even when I go out and I hang out for about like after 12 or 1 thereabouts. I would come home, and before I exit the car, I'd make sure that nobody is around. I put on my high beam so that it will give me light enough to see what's happening in the backyard, if there's any contrariness happening in the backyard before I exit my vehicle. So I am organizing a security system and trying to stay safe in this craziness. Like I've never had to think about my security in this manner. So as I said, May has been a trying month, and I don't know. I can't wait today being the 29th. We have 2 more days. I just want me to finish so that I can just go back. So I can't really go back because there are a lot of things playing in my mind and my heart, and I know that the processes that I have to go through in June and the upcoming months may very well be stressful, but there are some decisions that I had to take in order for me to continue to remain sane and to get certain things done. It's very hard when like you have to, that you have to do things, and there's someone just willfully blocking. That's for another video. I am sorry that I may have rambled on like this. I just felt like, oh, and by the way, I got back my results from my mammogram, which I thought were good, but then I was told that don't get too excited because then I need to do an ultrasound, which I did on Friday morning. So I'm waiting on the results of that now. And then when I do get the results from that, I'm just hoping and praying that it comes back normal or whatever, and I know what's the way forward with respect to my breast, because I can't do it no more. Why didn't our parents tell us that after when you enter adulthood, it's going to be rough, it's going to be hard, you have to make some decisions, and you have to consistently be thinking about things and trying to figure out stuff and stuff. Why didn't they tell us that? Why? Because I recall when I was young, I used to think, I wanted to be an adult. Now I'm up for adoption, peeps. I'm up for adoption. Like, if I could find somebody to just pay my bills, I will love you for the rest of your life. Adulthood is not an easy thing. It comes with more challenges than anything, and I think that everybody is just fighting to remain alive and to remain sane. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I am going to make a better effort in June, regardless of what the things that I am going through, to post and to keep you all engaged, because it makes no sense if videos are once a month that I just not bother, which is not what I want to do, because I like talking to you guys. And yeah, so have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.